Hello everyone, welcome to New Gen Politics. The U.S. Supreme Court will soon debate whether former President Donald Trump should be removed from Colorado's primary ballot, the first of what could serve as several legal challenges by Trump to confront the 9 justices. At issue is whether Trump committed insurrection by inciting a crowd to storm the U.S. Capitol January 6, 2021, and whether that should make him constitutionally ineligible to be re-elected president. That, in turn, could block him from appearing on a state primary ballot as a candidate for that office. Oral arguments are scheduled for Thursday at 10 a.m. ET, and an expected ruling could come within days or weeks. The issues have never been tested at the nation's highest court and are framed as a constitutional and political fight with enormous stakes for public confidence in the judicial system and the already divisive electoral process. Currently, 16 state courts and secretaries of state have determined that Trump is allowed to appear on the ballot. 16 other states have pending unresolved challenges to Trump's ballot eligibility, and 2 states have already determined that Trump is ineligible to appear on their ballot, these 2 going to the Supreme Court, which are Colorado and Maine. The 16 states with pending challenges are New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, New York, West Virginia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Wisconsin, Illinois, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Wyoming, and California. These 16 states could really change the election if the Supreme Court decides that Trump is allowed to be determined ineligible for any of these ballots based on the state's determination. Well, there's one caveat with this. Trump has never been charged, tried, or convicted of insurrection. So if the Supreme Court decides that Trump is guilty of insurrection, that means without a trial, a legitimate one, Trump is determined purely by their evaluation of his character to have committed insurrection. That would be the final nail in the coffin for America's judicial system. As it said in this Fox News article, public confidence in the judicial system and our electoral process are already incredibly low. People don't trust the judicial system anymore. They think it's biased. They think it's being used as a weapon to target people and punish dissidents to whatever movement is currently in political power. And that is kind of the case. Our judicial system has broken down and become biased. When judges are appointed who have strong political affiliations and you expect them to be unbiased, it's kind of a ridiculous notion, especially in the modern day. And the problem is they're fulfilling what they believe to be right, but in doing so, you're creating a dual system of justice. Whereas in the judge you get can determine whether you are innocent or guilty purely on the basis of their political beliefs. Now that is a huge problem for what is supposed to be a neutral and fair arbiter of justice in this country. And institutional trust across the board is at an all-time low. So what happens when a council of 9 unelected officials determine that a man who is never convicted of a crime is ineligible to run for president based solely on their feelings on the matter? That would destroy public trust and confidence in the judicial system. It would destroy public trust in the Supreme Court. It would destroy public trust in the relationship between the federal and state governments, something that's already incredibly tenuous if you look at the situation going on with Texas and states' rights at the moment. And it's something that you can't come back from. It is incredibly hard to regain institutional trust because you're trying to prove a negative. You're trying to prove that you're not corrupt anymore. You're trying to prove that you're not biased anymore. And it's almost impossible. Basically, the only way to regain institutional trust is make a new institution. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at in this country, is people don't trust the government. They don't trust the CDC. They don't trust the justice system. They don't trust the legislative system. They don't trust businesses or corporations. They don't trust local, state, or the federal government. So I hope and I pray that the Supreme Court decides that Trump is able to be eligible on all these ballots, reject the claims by the states that he's ineligible, because he's never been charged or convicted of this crime that would get him removed from the ballot based on Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, because he's never been convicted of it. How can you apply an article from the Constitution saying you're ineligible to be president if you've committed insurrection and apply that to a man who's never been convicted of committing insurrection? If you can just willy-nilly apply different verdicts to people based solely on your feelings on the matter without an actual trial, it's over. It's over for this country, judicially at least. And what happens when law breaks down? If you can't trust that you're going to be judged fairly, then nothing matters. There's no justice. How can you live in a society and truly believe in it if different groups of people are either punished harshly or not punished at all for committing the same crime or not committing a crime at all on the books based solely on their political affiliation, based solely on their rhetoric, based solely on if they're orange. How can you exist in a country like that? You can't. Society is based on the willingness and the trust of the individual to give up some of their rights in order to group up together for the benefits of society. One of those rights is you are not allowed to take the law into your own hands. So you set up a universal, unbiased judicial system to handle the aspect of justice for you. But when justice is not being carried out, especially not fairly, people will rescind that agreement. They'll take back that power into their own hands, and then you just have chaos. You have anarchy, you have vigilantes, you have people not following the law, you have people not getting punished for committing crimes, you have people being arrested and convicted for things they didn't do, based solely on the feelings of the people in power. That's what we're looking at. That would be the future of America. A future that would not last very long, because a country like that cannot last very long in that state. So this is a huge turning point for America. Will we continue to be a country based on fairness, rule of law, trust in a government? Or will we be a country that divides itself and falls into anarchy? It all hinges on this one decision. So pay close attention, because this will impact the future of not only America, but the rest of the world. Now that you've heard what I think, please let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.